Yes, guys, and welcome back to our opposition preview. This is Arsenal taking on Wolves. Of course, our game tomorrow, 3 p.m. kickoff at the Emirates Stadium. We've been joined by two very guests, and of course, the Wolves fan is on his way. He's running a little bit late, but he'll be here as soon as possible. And yeah, we're gonna talk to him about his club and how he's feeling going into this game. But we have been joined by two Arsenal fans, two regulars to the channel. We're joined by called Seb. How you doing, man? How's your Friday been?
Yeah, it's been very good, thank you. Yeah, looking forward to the game tomorrow. It's been a good week for Arsenal. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope our, form continues, man, and we get another fantastic display like, of course, a few days ago in the Champions League, 6-0 winners. So I don't want to see lost something similar like that again. Um, Luca, big up to you, my man. Edu out and all that. But yeah, how's your Friday been, Luca? You all good?
Yeah, very, very, very good, man. I've just been working out and all that stuff, and I've done a lot of things today, and feel motivated, man. And I'm all good, man. I'm buzzing for the weekend, Friday already, man, and I'm buzzing, man.
1st of December as well, innit, man?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Mate, last of 2023, Arsenal have got seven big games this month. So you know what I'm saying? So
very tough run, man. Big test coming up, and it starts with this game against Wolves, obviously. I'm going to start with. I'll tell you what. I'll come to you first, Luca, man. How are you feeling going into this game against Wolves? What's your confidence levels like? Obviously, you was at the game on Wednesday when we battered Lens 6-0 in the Champions League. But do you think it'll be a tough game, Luca? They've got get Gary O'Neill in charge. Obviously, Gary O'Neill last season under Bournemouth came to the Emirates and went 2-0 up, didn't they? And it took Reece Nelson to come on and win us the game. So, how are you feeling about going into this game, man, against
well, for
Wolves?
me, I'm confident going into this game because I was at the game on Wednesday night and we won 6-0. Unbelievable scenes. Sat eighth row in the North Bank, which is absolutely fantastic. I want to big up to Melina for helping me getting a ticket for that. So of course, big shout out to Miss Melina on that one and that. Yeah, I think it was a fantastic performance in the Champions League. I did a match reaction the other day, and what I said in my channel, I said, look, it was a fantastic performance. Who expected to win 6-0 against Lens, and I think it was a great overall by the team display. I think Saliba was class. I think the whole team were brilliant, in my opinion, and I think it was fantastic. And going into the Wolves game, I think it'd be a tough game as people expected because it's not going to be like a walk in the park. Because Wolves over the years have had a bit of Arsenal's number and all that stuff. So they've picked up a few results and that. And I know recently we've been beating them. And I remember during the lockdown period, Wolves used to be a bogey side. So I think it's going to be a difficult game.
Yeah, agreed, man. And guys, we do have our Wolves fan with us. We're joined by Dave. Dave, thank you so much for coming on the channel, man. Really do appreciate
It's
it.
all right. Cheers, lads.
And
Thanks for having me.
yeah, how you been, bro?
Yeah, all good. Thank you. All good. Yeah, looking forward to the game. So yeah, thanks for having me on.
No worries at all, man. So yeah, let's talk about your club Wolves. Then, obviously Gary O'Neill. You appointed them this season after getting sacked from Bournemouth, and he did a good job to keep them up. So I was very surprised how they sacked him. But yeah, he currently has you 12th place in the league. Obviously, you've played. I mean, I've been looking at your results. You obviously beat Man City. You beat Tottenham. You got some decent points against Newcastle and Villa, and there's a few games in there where you should have really won. I think the Fulham game, Sheffield United as well. But yeah, what have you made of Wolves this season, man?
It's been okay, man. I think, like you said, we brought Gary O'Neill in, but we brought him in with 4 days before the start of the season, so he didn't really have a pre-season with the squad, and we really didn't know what to expect. A lot of Wolves fans were sort of fearing the worst and thought we were going to be down there and really struggling. But yeah, we went to Old Trafford on the opening game of the season, gave them a really good game, denied a blatant penalty towards the end, really should have got something out of it. So it took Gary O'Neill a while to get going, but like you said, we then beat Man City at home, picked up points against Newcastle, Villa, beat Spurs in our most recent home game as well. But the difficulty is at the moment that we've struggled away from home. We've struggled to get that consistency away from home. Yes, we beat Bournemouth and Everton, but we've dropped points against Luton. We've lost to Sheffield United and Fulham. So it is just trying to get that sort of consistency away. So, it could have been better, but it could have been a lot worse as well. I think Wolves are I'm sort of happy with where we are in the table right now.
Yeah, 100%, man. And obviously, coming to this game, coming to the Emirates, playing against Arsenal, what have you made of us this season? Because obviously, last season we were challenging for the league title. We ended up capitulating towards the end, but in the window, we signed players like Declan Rice, fantastic signing. We signed Julian Timber. Obviously, Kai Havertz was a bit controversial, but what have you made of Arsenal this season as well?
I think Arsenal have been very solid. I think a little bit sort of under the radar as such. I don't think everyone's been talking about Man City, then everyone was talking about Tottenham. And I don't think many people realise that Arsenal are actually still sat at the top of the Premier League table right now. And I think, you're doing what you need to do. Defensively been much better. And I think Arteta, although maybe the football's not as entertaining as it was last season, he's definitely tightened things up and you're still getting the results. And, going into this game after a massive win in the Champions League as well, I think Wolves fans are going into this game a little bit more concerned now after that win. But Arsenal doing what they need to do. And I think Arteta, good start this season. And positive for Arsenal fans. I think it just shows that you will still be in and amongst the title race this season.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you there, man. I want to ask you about obviously your transfer business because obviously, what did you really rate your transfer window in the summer?
It was okay in the end because I think it took us a long time to get going. I think the big one, there were obvious ones like Ruben Neves, who we expected to leave the club. He went quite early for a little bit more than what we expected as well, because he was in his last year of his deal. Obviously, he went to Saudi Arabia. And I think Wolves fans expected their money to be spent after that, and it wasn't the case. We lost a couple more players. Nathan Collins left, and Raul Jimenez. And then the big one was Matheus Nunes towards the end of the transfer window. So he kicked up a fuss, said, I don't want to train at Wolves. I want to move to Man City. So Wolves let him go, got a good amount of money, and that allowed us then to spend the money that we needed to. So Wolves have been a lot more cautious with their signings in terms of how much they've spent on players, because we have spent a lot of money on players over the last few years and it hasn't worked out. So they've brought in 4 or 5 really good squad members for less than what it costs for us to sell Matheus Nunes. So I think it's clever business, although they're not players that are hugely reputable or massive names or massive signings. I think they're getting the job done, and I think fair play to the club. They've sort of bided their time. They put a big statement out at the start of the summer when fans were getting angry about the lack of signings and said, look, financially, we need to be very, very careful. And it was basically because they knew what was going to happen to Everton. And at the time, obviously, you don't appreciate that as a Wolves fan. You just, I want my club to start signing footballers. But at the end, they've built a decent squad. We are where we are. And, Wolves have been proved right because Everton obviously got that big 10-point deduction.
It's probably frozen. Okay. Thank you very much for coming on, Dave.
That's all right, mate.
So in terms of the game tomorrow, what type of a game are you expecting it to be? What are you expecting Arsenal to do? What are you expecting Wolves to do? How do you reckon you can beat this Arsenal team? What do you reckon?
I think it'll be a tough game, mate, because I think we're missing a lot of players. Pedro Neto's injured. Ryan Aitnor is injured. They've been 2 of our best players this season. Our 2 starting midfielders, who would be João Gomez and Mario Lemina, both suspended. So it's going to be a different Wolves team. I would expect us to sit deep, look to frustrate Arsenal, to be honest. I think we will, we'll play with a start with a back 5. Like I said, we'll start deep and probably try and play on the counter-attack, really. So I know Arsenal will want to be on the front foot and will want to attack Wolves. And a lot of that joy will probably come from the likes of Declan Rice. So I think the midfield battle is quite key for Wolves. If we can disrupt Arsenal and make life difficult for them, yes, we've got a chance. But we will really be relying on the likes of Hwang and Matheus Cunha to start counter-attacks, drive Wolves forward and see if we can get goals that way. But I know it's going to be a very tricky and could be a long afternoon for Wolves if things don't go right.
Yeah, it will be, but I hope it will. But Arsenal seem to struggle against low block teams. Like we saw what Brentford did to us. Like Luca was as well. The reason why we battered Lens and we battered PSV is because they came to play football against us. They were so open. Well, teams like Brentford and Palace and even Forest when we beat them early in the season. They were all low blocks, so that was why we struggled to break them down. But I do actually, and the thing is also we've not actually scored a goal in the league in the first 15 minutes. So an early goal of this, I reckon, could be crucial. But also, you do score. You are a team that does score goals as well. So I know we've had a few 1-1s in this fixture quite a bit. So.
Yeah, I was looking at some stats earlier. I mean, we've done really well in terms of goal scoring. I think the last season under Nuno, under Bruno Lage, even under Lopetegui, we really struggled to score consistently. But now under Gary O'Neill, we're scoring a lot of goals. But like you said, Arsenal, I think, haven't failed to score in this fixture for a long, long time. You know, they're scoring goals. And over the last 2 seasons, you have got the better of us. So I think it'll be a tricky game for Wolves. But you know, the fact that we're scoring goals gives us every chance at the moment.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. You can definitely get something. You can definitely get something from the game, and I feel also that Arsenal definitely need to be on it, and also the right team needs to go up. We need to show our attacking fluidity. Then we should be getting a result. But like I've said, we cannot underestimate you guys or any team. You're still a good side. I really do feel because you beat Tottenham, you did well against Man United, and like you said, you beat Man City. So that means you can't be taken for granted. Now, on the subject of Pedro Neto, obviously he's a player that's been heavily linked with Arsenal, and I would love us to sign him. Is he going to be fit tomorrow? And also, when is he likely to go anytime soon, or you reckon you can keep him for a bit longer? How long do you reckon you can keep hold of him for?
Yeah, so unfortunately he's out injured tomorrow. Obviously he picked up an injury. He's back training on the grass now, but he's still out injured at the moment. So yeah, it's too soon for him tomorrow, but I'm hoping he'll be back. Maybe next week. But yeah, in terms of him, I mean, he's a fantastic player, but unfortunately injuries are just slowing him down a little bit. He's struggling at the moment to keep fit. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why he hasn't got that big move yet. I think every time he's linked with a big move either to Arsenal or another team, he has struggled to stay fit. He's been one of our best players every pre-season for the last 3 or 4 years. But as we come, start the season, he really struggles to stay fit and injury free. I think Wolves will be able to keep hold of him until at least the end of the season. I don't think a team will be brave enough to take the punt on him in January due to his fitness and his injury record. But if he can stay injury free between now and the end of the season, I think there will be some conversations to be had with some big clubs about him potentially moving on. But he's a very, very good player, and I'm hoping he can come back from injury and be the same player he was a few weeks ago, because he looked really, really sharp, really threatening in front of goal.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think he's an absolutely incredible player, and we do actually need some cover on the wings, especially on the right. So I reckon if we were in for him, then that would be a good signing. But like I said, that's all down the pipeline for now. Now focus is on the game. Now, I've just had a message from Joss is that unfortunately he's had a power cut. So that's why his stream went off. So me and Luca will carry on the stream with you. Luca, have you got any? And I believe he's got some questions for you. So anything?
Yeah, I got a question, Dave. Of course. What are your thoughts about Gary O'Neill getting obviously the Wolves job? Of course, the previous Wolves manager got the sack. And are you happy with Gary O'Neill at the moment? Does he have like a philosophy? Does he have an expand football? Like, are you happy with this manager, or do you feel like you could have got someone better? How's it going, like, with terms of sacking your previous manager then?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting one. So, I mean, with Lopetegui, he was told at the end of the season, probably around the time we played Arsenal away, actually, that from next season onwards, there isn't going to be much money for him to spend in the summer. And he wasn't happy about that, obviously because of financial fair play. Basically, we said we're going to have to sell players for you to sign players. And it took him a long time to sort of agree with that. So we got into the start of pre-season, and then he said, "Right, look, I'll stay. We'll work together. We'll see if we can figure something out." Because he loved England. He enjoyed his time at Wolves so far. And then it got to about 2 weeks before the season, and he wasn't happy with the situation. He wasn't happy with the amount of players that we'd signed. And he told the sporting director, "Look, I want to leave the club. I'll give you a week or so to try and find somebody, but then I'm going." So it left us in a very difficult position, because when you're a team that hasn't really signed any players. Everyone in the press is backing you to get relegated because you had quite a poor end to the season. There's not a lot of managers out there that are going to jump at the chance. So when Gary O'Neill was named, obviously a lot of Wolves fans are quite underwhelmed because he did okay at Bournemouth, but hasn't really done much more than that. It took him a while. Gary O'Neill took 3 or 4 weeks before he started to get fans on board because some games, although the Man United game we played okay, Liverpool match we lost 3-1, but we were a much better side in the first half. It took him a long while to get fans on board, but he's changed the system. We've beaten Man City, we've beaten Spurs. He's speaking well in the press. A lot of fans are on his side, but he likes to attack Gary O'Neill.
The thing is, right, I 100% agree with you because I think what I like about Gary O'Neill, he's a very promising manager. And I think the previous manager where you got him from Real Sociedad, I thought he was going to do wonders. I actually thought he was going to do well, but it didn't quite work out for him and results weren't going your way. And I think what I like about Gary O'Neill, yes, okay, you've lost people like Ruben Neves and that, but when you had Nuno, I thought he was okay at Wolves. Like I think Wolves at the time, I remember when we played you at the Emirates and then you did the double over us during the lockdowns and all that. You guys used to be a very, very good, solid team to hard to break down. And for some reason, I do think with Nuno Espirito, I actually wanted to ask you, why did Wolves get rid of Nuno Espirito? Because I actually thought he was quite a decent manager.
I still don't really know why he was let go, to be honest. I think obviously during that COVID season, which you mentioned, Jimenez got injured, which was a big part, a massive, massive blow for Wolves at the time because we really struggled for him, struggled to get goals. And the football turned very, very stale. I think Nuno was missing home. He started getting homesick. Wasn't really able to see his family much, and you could see that related onto the quality of football we played. We were really, really poor during that season, but that was the first season. Nuno joined Wolves, won the league, finished 7th twice. Really set himself a high standard, and then that COVID season really dropped off. So the club said, "Look, we're going to let you go." But the thing with Nuno is he was such a good manager, so exciting. He got the atmosphere. The atmosphere was amazing at Molineux before COVID. And we haven't really been able to recreate that, to be honest. Obviously, he went, Bruno Lage came in and did okay in the first season, but very, very boring football. Lopetegui came in again, got that atmosphere back a little bit, and we started winning games at home, but away from home, it was awful. And you could tell Lopetegui, because he had managed at Spain, Real Madrid before, I think he knew he came to Wolves thinking, right, I'm almost too big for this club. And that's what it felt like at times. But with Gary O'Neill, he knows he's very level-headed. He knows he's managing a massive football club in Wolves, and he knows there is pressure on him, but he's thriving on that pressure, and he's trying to prove a point. He knows that Wolves are sort of almost the underdogs in these sort of matches against Arsenal, but he's not scared to go toe-to-toe against teams like Arsenal. Yes, we may play with that low block, like you mentioned earlier, Sebastian, and we may look to frustrate Arsenal, but that's what Gary O'Neill will do to try and win football matches. And we saw at Bournemouth, he picked up some good, although they did well to get out of relegation trouble. He did frustrate some big teams throughout his time there, and he already has at Wolves as well.
Yeah, they nearly beat us at the Emirates. That was that Reece Nelson last minute goal so we do know what he's all about, and I think he's a great manager.
I think tomorrow's game, look, it all depends. This game is going to sort of remind me about, Seb just said about Reece Nelson scoring the winner against Bournemouth. I feel tomorrow's game could be like that. I'm not saying it will. I do think Arsenal will win the game. I'm confident going into this game. And I should be confident after winning a 6-0 win on Wednesday night. But I feel something tells me that I do think this is going to be a tough game. I always feel I think this is going to be like, like Arsenal scraped that 2-1 win. Remember when Lacazette scored and it came off as an own goal?
I was there. Yeah.
I remember that game. And I feel a game like that's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know. Something tells me I think you guys are going to be up for it. But I do think we will get the job done because we're at the Emirates. If it was away from home, it could be a different game. But you're beating teams this year. I think you beat Man City this season.
Yeah.
And so you've picked up football results, and you guys should have beaten Manchester United at Old Trafford. So, quite frankly, I do think it will be a tough game, and I do think Gary O'Neill, I think you guys are going to be okay. You're about 15 points behind us, right? You're 15th in the league. You're doing well, I guess. So I think you're in a position what is Wolves' aim this season? What do you want? Is finish high as possible you can this season?
Yeah, I think the aim when Gary O'Neill came in was just to make sure we stay out of any sort of relegation battle, and I think he's already shown that we should be far too good to stay out of that trouble. Really, I think a mid-table finish would be very good for Wolves, but I think we have got the quality. If we can stay consistent, we have got the quality to push for a top half finish. I don't think at the moment we're consistent and good enough to be knocking on the door for European football again. But if we can get a mid-table top half finish, I think that'd be a very, very good season, considering Gary O'Neill joined the club on 4 days' notice before the season started. So, and losing some big players like Ruben Neves in the summer. So, I think a mid-table finish would be a successful season for Wolves, really.
Yeah, look, for me, I think mid-table does sound about right for you guys, because Wolves, of course, are not going to be what the Wolves a couple of years ago. Because if Wolves had that momentum from a couple of years ago when they were beating teams like us and doing the double over us, and if you had that Wolves from a couple of seasons ago, you guys will be aiming for at least minimum Conference League. But I feel mid-table is a very good season for Gary O'Neill, because what is the long-term project for Wolves? Do you want to finish around that for the next few years? Do you want to try go far in a cup competition? And
yeah, I mean, we know that, you know, we were in the Europa League, obviously that first year back in the Premier League, and that was an amazing experience. And I think we almost took it for granted because the year after we were 7th again. And I think Arsenal were the team, maybe Arsenal or Spurs possibly just about got into European football ahead of us that season. So that would be amazing to aim for that again. But in terms of long-term goals, I don't know really. I think Wolves will want to just continue being that Premier League team and pushing back towards the top half of the table. I think the aim this season is just to solidify ourselves as a Premier League team, finish, like I said, mid-table if we can. But we really, really need to push on. But the whole transfer strategy has changed. You know, a few years ago, as you'll remember, we were really leaning on George Mendes and bringing in a lot of Portuguese players. Whereas switch from that now, we're not really going to be looking at that. So it really depends on how well our transfer strategy goes and how well we kick on. But there are teams like Arsenal, like Chelsea, like City that will spend a lot of money. And that's what Wolves can't really compete with at the moment. So we've got to be savvy with our transfers. We've got to be clever. We've got to try and win games like this if we can. But I think long term, it'll be very, very difficult for Wolves to break into the European football, but a cup run would be great. Like you mentioned, just, you know, for clubs outside the top 6, that's possibly one of the best opportunities to get back into European football by winning the cup.
100%, 100%. I've got another question to ask about Arsenal have been linked with your former man, Ruben Neves.
Yeah.
And of course, Arsenal are looking at potential replacements for Thomas Partey. Do you feel Ruben Neves would be a good ideal for maybe like a 6-month loan deal to Arsenal? And then would that be good? Would that be good business? Would he be the answer to replace Thomas Partey for the long term?
I like Ruben Neves a lot, and I think he was fantastic at Wolves. I think he was always really hard. I felt like he needed to go to a bigger club, but it was just really hard to know how well he would do until he actually got given that opportunity. Yeah. So I think something like a 6-month loan would be amazing for him, because I think that would show, you know, what level he's at, what quality he can play at. And I think that would work. I don't think he'd be a like-for-like replacement for Partey. I think obviously they are slightly different players, but in terms of, you know, I really enjoyed watching Ruben Neves play. He really just dictates the tempo of a match. I think, you know, alongside Declan Rice or as a backup to Declan Rice, I think he'd be a very good option for Arsenal. So I'd like to see him back in the Premier League. Obviously, I'd be upset if it's not for Wolves, but for a Champions League team, I think Ruben Neves definitely deserves that opportunity.
100%, 100%.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I actually don't think there's a lot in it. I don't, because there is the rumours that apparently he's happy there and he doesn't really want to move. But yeah, if he did come, I think it will be a smart bit of business from Arsenal if he did come. Okay, so back on the game. So how do you reckon it's actually going to go tomorrow? How do you reckon the game's gonna go?
I think Arsenal are probably too strong for Wolves, if I'm honest. I think with our suspensions and injuries as well, I think Arsenal should have the edge and should be stronger than us. So I would probably go with an Arsenal win. I think both teams will score, so I think Arsenal will probably edge it maybe 2-1. But I still do have a small feeling that, we could go there and nick something. I'd be very, very surprised, hopefully pleasantly surprised, if we do get 3 points. But I think we could nick a point, like Luca was saying earlier. We've had some really tight games, over the years, especially at the Emirates. That game where you guys beat us 2-1 really late on. I was really disappointed that we ended up coming away from that game with nothing. So it'll be a tough game. I think Arsenal should beat us, but Wolves do have enough quality, like you boys have already been saying, to frustrate Arsenal and maybe nick something.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. You're gonna be at the game?
Unfortunately, not. No, I've done the Emirates quite a few times over the last few years, but I've said this year I'll give it a miss this year. So busy with work and stuff at the moment, so I'll be watching it from home. But yeah, fingers crossed it'll be a good game for everyone anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. It's going to be very cold there as well.
Yeah,
how we adapt to also playing in that, but. Like I said, we're going for the title, hopefully, and this is a tricky month for Arsenal, and this is where it starts. Every game, I feel, is going to be tricky.
I've got a question to ask. Do you mind if I ask this question, or yeah? And then Dave, I've got a question. I've said this on a number of times on my channel and other channels as well, and I think Seb knows what I'm going to say. Of course. Do you feel Mikel Arteta, right, if he doesn't win anything this season, right, like if he gets second this season, but doesn't win anything this season, with the 200 million he's spent, do you think he should be sacked?
I think it would be very, very harsh to sack him. I think you have every right to be obviously disappointed, and I think the board will be disappointed, but it's hard. I mean, you look at the amount of money City have spent over the years to consistently be top of the league, even Liverpool over the years, and they finished second a number of times as well. So I think it's very, very difficult to topple Manchester City at the moment. And if whoever does that, whether it's Arsenal or whether it's another team, deserves a lot of credit. So I think it would be very harsh to let Arteta go because I don't think you get a manager easily of a similar quality to replace him, to be honest. So I think Arsenal have just got to be very cautious. I know last season they've almost set themselves that standard now. They've got to be competing right up until the wire, really, at the top of the table. And yeah, I don't think he should be sacked, depending on obviously how other things go. But if he's competing well in the FA Cup, Champions League.
The thing is with me, with Arteta is, don't get me wrong, I'm backing Mikel Arteta, don't get me wrong. But I just had this little worry. If he doesn't win anything with the 200 million he spent, then all this money he has spent since he's come to the football club and since 2019 is thinking, when you spent about that amount of money, it feels it could be a little bit worried because personally, if we don't win anything this season, I don't think he goes. I think he gets given another season. Fair enough. If that's what's the route's going to be, I'm cool with it. But I just feel that we have to win the league this season. And I know Manchester City are the ones to be chased. Liverpool are there and abouts. And I think January is a big January transfer window. There has been reports talking about a striker, a number 6 midfielder coming in as well. And there has been reports, Dave, about Douglas Luiz. And then Luiz is now saying that he might not go. And they're on about someone called Fofana from the French league. And like there's been a few names. And I think for me, Edu has done a good job. Right, and I've given Edu some stick in the past and all that stuff, but I just want Edu to prove to the Arsenal fans and me as well. And I just want him to get a striker that's going to get us the league. Like, Vlahovic has come out in the meeting and said he wants to stay at Juventus for 2 more years or see out his contract. Osmian is not leaving into the summer. So I feel if we want to win the league this season, we've got to go and get Ivan Toney. I think Ivan Toney is the one for Arsenal. He wants to come to the football club, but it's about whether we have to sell players first because we've spent a lot of money in the summer.
No, I agree, but I think now, as long as you guys stay in line with financial fair play, which I'm sure you will, because there's a lot of pressure on the likes of Chelsea and Man City at the moment. I really doubt it'll happen. Of course, the board will be putting pressure on Arteta. There's always pressure on teams that are competing at the top. But I think that's just the norm now to spend that amount of money. So I think they'd be daft to sack him. But you want to make sure that you're competing for some sort of silverware, whether it be the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, even better, the Premier League or the Champions League.
100%.
Okay, so we know you've got to go shortly, so we won't keep you waiting too long, but we have got one question here in the chat.
Yeah.
Is that someone has said, do you reckon VAR has played a part in your season as well? I know you've had a lot of decisions go against you, just like we did against Newcastle, but what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think for what it's worth, I thought that Newcastle goal, I was very surprised to see that get given. I thought it was very harsh on Arsenal as well, and I'm sure, obviously, I had discussions with fans. Obviously, there's one thing whether the ball was in or out, but I felt it was a foul on Gabriel either way. So
as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we've had lots of bad luck with VAR. The first one was obviously right at the start of the season when Onana had sort of pushed into Blidic. Exactly. We had one against Luton away from home where, we got given a red card, which was dubious, but then the handball, which shouldn't have been given as a handball, in my opinion. Sheffield United, we had a similar situation where a penalty got given, which probably shouldn't have been a penalty. And then Newcastle, we had the penalty which shouldn't have been given, and then our last game against Fulham away as well, there were 2 or 3 instances where there were 2 red card shouts, 2 penalty shouts, so 4 decisions really that went against Wolves on the night. So it's frustrating. Obviously, Arteta and Arsenal put out a statement about it because Arteta was frustrated. Wolves haven't quite gone to that extreme as of yet, but Gary O'Neill has publicly said how disappointed he is in it. So Wolves fans, I think, are planning some sort of mini protest in the ground on Tuesday with signs and stuff, anti-VAR stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, we could have easily had 6 or 7 more points on the board. And that's a lot of points for a team in our sort of situation at the moment.
Yeah, it's very true. And to be fair, I don't blame you guys because I guess that must be frustrating that these things are just happening through no fault of your own and just messing up the game. It's just not right.
Yeah, I mean, we due a good decision, or we due a VAR decision our way. So hopefully it's tomorrow, maybe against Arsenal.
It did happen a couple seasons ago with that David
Luiz. Yeah, Arsenal fans love bringing that one up as well. That's a good one.
Yeah. Anyway, it's been a pleasure to have you on again, and hopefully we'll have you on later on in the reverse fixture. And also Luke has also got a channel, and he'll happily have you on his channel as well because he does great content as well. Just tell everyone where they can find you and your content and what stuff you got coming up. Just let us know.
Yeah, so it's at Talking Walls. So yeah, if you guys want to check us out, obviously on YouTube, do previews like this, match reactions after the game, and podcast as well. So yeah, if you want to check us out, please feel free to do so. But yeah, thanks for having me on again, lads. Good to chat, and fingers crossed we'll talk on the reverse fixture as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure, definitely. Thank you very much.
Perfect, guys.
And may the best team win tomorrow. Yeah. And enjoy it.
Yeah, no worries, lads. I'll see you soon. Thank you. Yeah. Cheers.
All right. An update on Josh.
On Josh. Where's Josh?
He should be on in 5 minutes because the people have come and they're fixing the power. Basically, the whole line is completely busted and it's shut down his whole road.
Southend for you.
It is frustrating. but yeah, I can stay on for a little bit longer. I'll stay on for a little bit longer and just chat more about the game. So, okay, so team selection. Luke, how would you go into this game? Because we've got quite a few players back fit. Only Vieira, Smith Rowe, Timber, and Partey are the only notable absentees, but we've got lots of players back. Ben White is back, and now we've got Havertz back performing. So will he start? Should we start Trossard in that deep role? Should we start Tommy Ashley instead of Timber, or no, not Timber, Ben White or Zinchenko, who should start in goal because David Ray is back. So we have actually got quite a few selection headaches, which is a good thing. But how would you go into this game?
For me, my lineup, what I should go for, right, is I go with Raya in goal. I go with right back. I go with Ben White. I think White needs to come in because he didn't start on the weekend. Wednesday, sorry. Centre half, I'd go with the same pairing, Saliba and Gabriel. Left back, I'd bring in. Well, I think Zinchenko would be okay at home against Wolves, so I'd probably put Tommy Yasu on the bench. Midfield, I'd go with Declan Rice, Odegaard, and Havertz in a 3. And then up front, I go with Bukayo Saka, Martinelli, and I put Jesus on the bench. People might actually call me a bit delusional, but no, because the reason why, if he starts, I'm not going to complain. But the reason why, because I felt he looked a bit fatigued on Wednesday night in the Champions League, because I felt when he came off and I was at the game and he looked a bit fatigued, and of course he did come back after the international break. But I'd go with Trossard up front. I feel this is a game where I feel Trossard could score against Wolves.
Yeah, he is pretty good against low block teams. He does know actually how to break them up. So, to be fair, that wouldn't actually be a bad shout. And I would honestly not be disappointed if Trossard did start down the middle or if he started in midfield. But yeah, I'll go the same team as you, but I probably would start Jesus for this. But that's probably the only change. But other than that, I go the same as you. Now, obviously, we got this game first. Josh will be here in just a second because his power's back on, so he'll be here very shortly. So now with this game, it's going to be a much harder game, I feel, than Lens, because obviously Wolves play the slow block and they do it quite well. So do you think an early goal is crucial, or do you think?
I think an early goal is crucial because
the longer we leave,
here's the stat, right? And Robbie said this the other day on AFTV, right? We have not scored in the first 15 minutes in the Premier League this season.
That is true.
We have not scored an early goal in the Premier League. But why is it? This is the question. This is what Robbie said on Wednesday night, right? Why is it that we could score goals early in the Champions League, but not in the Premier League? Is it because of the opposition who we play? Why can't we not do? And Jez mentioned it on Lee Gunner's channel as well, right? Why is it that we can't score in early games in the Premier League? Is it because of the opposition we play? Why can't we not play like that? Look, of course, we're not going to play like that every single game because other football clubs are going to have plans. So regardless to that, what I want to see tomorrow is that I want us to go out and score early goals. That is what I want to see. I want Arsenal to get the first goal in the first 10 minutes and then be comfortable. I want to have a similar performance as Wednesday night. But this is the Premier League. This is a difficult game. That's why I feel Wolves is not going to be an easy game.
Oh, no, it's not. It really ain't.
Because they're going to be playing low block. So whereas it could be one of those games where we could, like Brentford away last week, it could be one of those frustrating moments.
You right, lads? What an absolute nightmare. Honestly,
that's frustrating.
One of the worst times it could happen as well. We're literally doing an opposition preview. It could have happened earlier today when I was out. Yeah, but it happens right now. Literally, I had a power cut. The whole sheet went off for about a good 20 minutes. We had to wait for the people to come out, and finally they literally, fixed it.
Man.
Oh, sorry.
Absolute
Well,
nightmare. Guys, thank you so much for carrying it on, though. I really do
No
appreciate
worries,
that.
man. Anytime.
problem for the Wolves fan. Dave did very well. He's a great guy and comes.
Big up to him, man. Big up to Dave. Absolute legend, man.
Okay, I'm gonna have to actually. I'm gonna.
Yeah,
Actually,
Seb, you got a bounce, yeah?
yeah.
All
I'll
right,
just give,
cheers.
I'll just
Cheers,
give a
Seb.
quick score prediction.
Of course.
I do think Arsenal will win this 2-0, but I don't think it'll be a comfortable 2-0. I think it'll be one of these games where we'll get one before half time, and then later in the second half we'll nick a second. I think it'll be one of those games. But we need the 3 points, and we also need a bit of a performance. Like Lucas said, we want to see what we saw the other day against Lens. I don't think it'll be like that because Wolves are more compact and it's the Premier League. But we just want to actually see a performance, really, because yes, it's good that we're getting the results, but eventually we keep playing like this and don't find our fluency, it will eventually run out. And this is the worst time. We don't want it to run out because December is a really crucial period, especially when with these congestion of fixtures and some of the hard games we got. So let's just see a performance and just see what the team can do, and more importantly, get the results, because now we're at the top of the league. It's important. We just have to keep winning.
Seb, big up. Cheers coming on, man, as always, man.
No problem.
And take care, man.
Yeah.
And
See you soon.
see you soon, man. Yeah. Cheers, man.
Bye.
Luca, me and you, we're gonna carry on for a little bit, yeah? Is that
Let's
all right?
carry on. Yeah, let's
Because
carry on.
I know, I mean, we both got streams at 6 anyway, so we're carrying on for like another 20 minutes.
I don't mind if mine's late. I don't mind if mine's late. So,
But yeah, Luca, man. I tell you what I want to do. I've not actually seen his press conference. Have you seen his press conference today?
no, I've not watched it.
So, all right, I'm gonna get the transcript up of what he said. Just bear me 1 second, man, and I'll quickly get this up. Let's do this, guys. Make sure you go and give us up to Luca as well. He's gonna be live in 6 p.m. Right, here we go. Arteta's press conference. Let's share this. Right, let's have a look at this. Right, can you see the screen, Luca?
Yes. Yes.
Is it on? Oh, there we go. All right, here we go. All right, yeah, let's go through this. So yeah, he said that this is questions asked on having the squad depth needed to compete in Europe and the Premier League. Time will tell. We have another big one to play against Wolves, a very difficult team to play against. They have shown against the top teams what they're capable of. Our preparation has been focused on understanding what we have to do to win the game. Luco, do you think we have the squad depth needed to compete in Europe and in the Premier League?
No, I don't think so. Because I think it all depends in January. Because I feel if we've got a good squad there. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's not quite there yet with Man City and Liverpool. Because look, if everyone was fit, right, we'd have Smith Rowe coming back, we'd have Timber coming back, we'd have Partey coming back, we'd have all them lot on the bench. Yes, that gives you squad depth, but I don't think I say out of 10 we've got about a 7 out of 10 squad depth. I think we need to go in for a look. We're looking at a number 6 midfielder. I think we need to get definitely 100% get a striker in. Ivan Toney is a must. We must go and get in January. I think a number 6 we need to go and get. And if we get that done and if we get the players what we need to address, I think we can go on and seriously maybe have a great chance of winning the league title, and it could be our year. But the thing is, I don't think the squad depth is not mathematically there, because remember a few weeks ago, before the international break, when we had the likes of Odegaard, Jesus coming back, the squad depth was full of kids. That's not really squad depth, and that's a bit of a problem. This is why Edu has to prove, not just only me, but to every single Arsenal fan, including ourselves and people in the chat, is that he's got to go and get the players. We want Edu. He's done a fantastic job so far. In the past,
Yeah.
he's made a lot of mistakes. But in January, he's got to get a striker. I hear some people, our fan base, is saying that we don't need a striker. Okay, so
No,
if people don't think we don't need a striker, depending on last season, right? Because last season, top 4 and the Europa League was the aim, but no one expected us to be in a title race, right? But from there, we went to go on and be in the title race, and we almost won the league. Yes, last season we did prove that we scored goals, but this season we're not influent enough. We're not showing that dominance as we were last season. Yes, we're top of the league at the moment, which is great, and we want to be top of the league throughout the season. But I feel January we now need a striker, and we're having goalkeeper issues as well. I'm not saying we need a goalkeeper, but I think we need to go and get these positions in January.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there, Luca. 100%, I couldn't agree more there. Let's continue on Kai Havertz's confidence growing and what we've been doing with him. First of all, support him like any other player and give him the tools and the time to show his qualities. I think what he's doing, everything is starting to come together. A lot of things he was doing right, he's continued to do. Now, obviously, in front of goal, he's being very efficient. Mate, Kai Havertz, Luca, are we eating our words with him recently? I mean, look, what I say with Kai Havertz is I want to see this guy do it consistency, yeah? Because this is what he didn't do enough at Chelsea. You know, he'll turn up for one game and then go and have 5, 6 absolute shockers.
Kai Havertz
So-
is my guy, yeah?
Lucas guy, yeah, come on.
Kai Havertz is my guy, yeah? You know what I said? You know what I said when I posted on Instagram and whatever, Twitter or whatever I posted on the other day? I'm sticking by it, man. You know what I'm saying? Kai Havertz is my guy. Look, okay, yes, I do admit, yes, he does need to improve. Don't get me wrong. He hasn't been that dominant, but he's getting a bit of confidence. And now he's getting that confidence. I'm willing to give him a chance now, right? Because I know a lot of people expected me to say, I wasn't coming out to say these sort of words, but I'm willing to give him an opportunity because he's done well. Yes, it's only 2 games, but he's building a bit of confidence. Okay, he's not playing 10 out of 10 performances. I say he's about a 6 out of 10 performer so far in the last 2 games. Because we want to see the £65 million, and we want to say, right, okay, we want a 10 out of 10 performance here. This guy's worth 65. We don't want none of these, he could have done this better. He could have done this. He could have done it. We don't want any of that. Right, we want to see a performance on a consistent. And don't get me wrong, I was at the game on Wednesday night and he scored a really good goal. Right,
Yeah.
Brentford, he didn't have a world-class performance, but we all got for him. We all sang his song throughout the weekend because he scored the winning goal to send us top of the league. But the thing is, we want him to perform when we play Liverpool at Anfield. In this month, we've actually got Liverpool at Anfield this month, right? Which is crazy. So in about 3 weeks' time. So
yeah,
we want him when we go to Aston Villa next weekend, when we play Brighton, when we play Liverpool, I want Havertz to have those performances. And if he puts in those performances he's done in the last 2 games, I'd actually change my mind in this guy. I'd be like, you know what, maybe he is worth £65 million. But
fair play. Yeah, fair play, man. Fair play. Let's continue.
yes.
We've got on wanting to keep our key players at the club. Yes, that's what we've been doing in the past few years. Apart from strengthening the squad as well, rules and having stability in the squad, those decisions are very important, obviously. On Gary O'Neill's comments about the decisions that have gone against Wolves, I have sympathy with all my colleagues because I know how beautiful, but at the same time, how challenging our job is. The exposure that we have and those moments in front of the cameras are not easy ones. You see that in many, many situations this season and last season. We are here to make the game better and our clubs better. We all need to win to do that. Now, everyone's calling this game, Luca, the VAR sort of derby, the PGMO apology derby, you know, because both Arsenal and Wolves have been robbed this season, many games. Let's be honest with it.
PGA Derby, is that what it's called?
Yeah, because both.
I knew that was the PGL. Mate, I never actually thought people would actually come out and actually say, wow, that's really good.
On trials for sin bins in football, do you know my age of football? Like I play under 17s now, yeah. and
Yeah.
like I'm semi-pro, right? We have these thing called sins. We have this. They don't have it in obviously the professional game, but in our game we have this thing called sin bins, right? It's basically like if you chat to the referee, they sin bin. You basically have to miss 15 minutes. It's not like a yellow card or a red
15
card. You
minutes?
basically come off the
You
pitch.
have to pay. Do you have to pay?
No. You literally get like your team goes down to 10 men, but the player who gets sin binned gets sent off for like 15 minutes and is allowed to come back on. And they're apparently going to introduce this into the actual men's game, like the actual professional game. So, Mikel said, I don't know, but I said it has to be tried. It's still a long shot, and we'll see what we get from that. And if there's any fresh injury concerns, no, I don't think we're gonna get anybody back still, and we didn't have any incidents, so all good. So the only players missing, Luca, is probably Smith Rowe, Thomas Partey,
Thomas Partey, and Timber. And Timber's
and
out.
Timber. Everyone else is fully fit,
Yeah,
according to one setup.
Timber's out for the rest of the season. So,
Right, I'm gonna have to quickly take this phone call, mate. Sorry, bear me 1
no
second.
worries. You've got no caller ID.
It's my mum.
No worries, man. No worries. So I'll carry on while Josh has got to do that. Look, for me, Timber is out for the rest of the season, right? It's been confirmed. Smith Rowe and Thomas Partey are now out. This is why, yes, we've got a good enough squad. And Fabio Vieira is also out, as that's the latest. Wednesday night, it was announced that he wasn't in the squad. So, look, I feel January we need to bring in a number 6 midfielder. You know what I'm saying? We can't go without the January transfer window with not buying anyone in now. And I'm sure we are going to spend money. We're looking at this Fofana guy. Apparently, I never seen him play. But there was another midfielder. I forgot the name, but I said I wasn't keen on it. Is it Mascara or something like that? I can't remember what his name is. If Arsenal are interested in someone like that as the Thomas Partey replacement, not for me. But I take this Fofana person's meant to be good, but Zubimendi is the dream, man. But it's not going to happen because it's more of linking up to the summer for a future replacement. So RD12 says Timber should be back in March. Well, I hope he's back in March. Hopefully, we're top of the league by then because Timber could have a part to play in that position. But with Tommy Asu playing in that position, he's going to have to fight his way back in competition. Timber.
Yeah, 100%, Luke, 100%. Anyway, let's continue the press conference. And I know both of us I've got streams to do, so we'll get through this quick. And if we're approaching our peak performance, or if there are more levels, I think there is more levels to come. I hope so. We have to continue to do a lot of the things we are doing well in the games to earn the right to win. But I think we can still improve and be more consistent. I agree. On the chance to be 4 points clear on Saturday night, we can control what we can do. I've learned that ifs in this league are not very positive things to have in mind. We are very hungry to play in front of our crowd tomorrow and win the game. That's what we're going to try and do. And what to expect from Wolves, they have a lot of quality. It's not a coincidence what they're doing. They perform really well, especially against the top sides. That speaks very highly about the quality of the coaching staff, what Gary is doing, the way they prepare and control opponents, especially when they play at home. We're going to have to try and break them down tomorrow 100% with that. And how to approach matches against teams that set up defensively, giving players tools, ideas, and understanding what we have to do with the game we have to play. As I mentioned before, it's about efficiency in the last part of the park that dictates the outcome of the game. The other night, we had very efficient in that. Do you think, Luca, do you think Wolves will come with the low block? Because I think they will.
Yeah, I think what Seb said, right, earlier, when he had that Wolves fan, Dave, I think they will come with a low block because they're going to come here and try and get a result. They're going to try and hit us on the break because Arsenal usually don't do well when we come up against teams when they set up a low block because we're at the Emirates. We know how our style of play is at the Emirates. We've seen this ever since we moved to the Emirates. And they're going to be coming up here to defend, to try and somehow get us on the break and try and sneak maybe a 1-0 win. So that's why I feel, Josh, they're going to play a low block.
Yeah, agreed. 100% agree with you there, man. I'm managing the challenge of 3 games in a week. That's the beauty of it. We wanted to be in this position. We are playing in the big games every 3 days, and the squad is ready. The players are hungry to play every single game. They're disappointed when we have to rest them to manage minutes. That's a really good sign. On VAR controversy, I've had enough in my garden, says Arteta. On how the organisation of contracts help us plan for performances on the pitch. It does help because those players have deserved the new deals with the performances and the way they've behaved. It also gives us stability as well. They are at a brilliant age as well, and there is still much more to come from them. And that was the initial plan, but it's something they have earned. It has it has made the squad much stronger, and credit to Edu as well, the board and everybody that planned those sequences as well to get them at the right time to compete, evolving the squad in the right way. On how that infrastructure leads to fighting for trophies, for sure, without top players, without a top quality squad in this league, and the demands that we have, it's impossible to do it, and that's what we're trying to build and evolve. And be better and more precise with what we need to make a big impact with those decisions. Let's continue. On if he talked to the other coach about VAR, yeah, it's something that comes up for sure. We talk about many things, but that is one of those for sure. Very positive things that's what they talk about. On if fans should hope for similar fluidity in the attack this weekend, it'll be different. It won't be the same, and we cannot expect the same. This team is going to be different to last season, hopefully very different to next season. And that's a part of evolution, by leaving some things in the past and make way for the new things. It's a transition. On if there's been a difference in Kai's mood lately, not really. He's been very positive and he's been so influential in a good way to his teammates in the team. Obviously, his confidence grows. On if I don't know why they would ask him that. On if Tomiyasu could be more of an attacking outlet going forward, I think so. But the priority for defenders is to defend well. Anything that they can add on top is excellent, and we're looking to develop. But especially in the defensive phase, the behaviour and consistency we are showing is what we need to maintain. That's for sure. On the midfield trio of Havertz, Odegaard, and Rice, I think time will help, and more minutes they play together, the chemistry will get better and better as well. But we have many options with different qualities. We played as well with 2 players, not as offensive as the 3 that we're talking about right now. And it depends as well on the opponent, game state, and what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Final question, if football should improve or remove VAR. I think we can improve on what we're trying to do. All the things that are happening are probably necessary to improve it, and we have to take it that way. It's been a big change. Technology is taking a huge responsibility in the games, and it needs time. If we use it the right way and we're listening to the people, we are open, we are humble, and we are trying to be constructive, I think we'll get into a really, really good place. So that was his press conference pretty much. So basically what you're saying was there's no injury concerns.
Well, there isn't it. It's going to be the same team as it was on Wednesday night.
Yeah. I mean, would you go with that team, or would you change anything?
I would mix it up a little bit. I don't know. Would you start Gabriel Jesus because he looked a little bit fatigued, and Rory said in the chat earlier, he looked all right when he came off Wednesday. If he's fine, he's fine. But I feel we've got games coming up. We've got a midweek game against Luton. Then we've got to go to Aston Villa away. Then we've got Brighton and Liverpool coming up. We're going to need Jesus in those big games. That's why I feel tomorrow maybe someone after Trossard tomorrow, because I feel you're going to need him to give him some minutes, a bit of confidence again. I know Trossard's been playing quite a lot recently since Jesus came back. And I know Trossard started in the game against Brentford and had a VAR offside. And it looks very sharp. So I'd drop Jesus, or maybe even play him and then rest him against Luton, because Luton Town away is going to be, it's a different pitch. It's an old-fashioned pitch, and especially with Jesus' fitness. Do you rest him in one of those games? Because we're going to need him against Villa away next week.
Yeah, 100%. That is a big game. That is a very tough game as well, as we know.
Yes.
We got some very tough. I mean, this December sort of fixture list, Luca, for me will define our season, in my opinion. It'd be like, is this Arsenal side really serious, of winning the league title again, because some of the games we got, and it starts with Wolves. This will be no easy task. This will be no tough.
No,
This will be a very
I
tough game.
think we'll get the job done, but I think it'll be a really
Yeah.
tough one.
But then after that, we got Luton night on a Tuesday night, right? On a 8:15 kickoff, going to Luton Town. It's gonna be a very good atmosphere, you know, with Luton fans, right?
I'm confident going into that game.
It's for me, it's a little bit of a banana skin, Luca, because they're newly promoted side. It's away from home. It's Tuesday night. It's going to be freezing. It's a bit of a banana skin. But hopefully we do get the job done. Then after that is the one I'm worried about the most. As Mr. Good Evening, Aston Villa away.
The only games I'm worried about is Brighton and Liverpool.
Brighton is our bogey side. Liverpool at Anfield. We never beat Liverpool at Anfield. Let's be honest with you.
I think it will be a tough game, but I'm confident we'll beat them.
You think?
I think we'll beat them.
Even though it's an absolute fortress at Villa Park right now.
It is this
And
season.
been a fantastic
Arsenal did beat them last season, and
We
we got
did, we
lucky to win that game. We somehow come back and won. So
Yeah.
I think we'll beat them.
Yeah. But Luca, tomorrow, score prediction, man.
I'm going to go for 2-1 Arsenal. I think Arsenal will edge it. I think we'll have enough quality to beat Wolverhampton Wanderers. We're at the Emirates. Players are fully confident, proud in the last 16 in the Champions League. It's like we could show that kind of performance what we did on Wednesday night.
100%, man. Luca, shout out your channel as always, man, and where they can find you.
Guys in the chat, man, please subscribe to my channel, RD12, Jordan, everyone else. Please subscribe to my channel, Luca AFC. We are 35 away from 5,000 subscribers. So if you know 35 people around the world, get them to subscribe to my channel. We could hit 5K this month on Christmas Day. And we're about to go live in a bit. If anyone would like to come and join and talk about this game, then feel free to. We're live on the channel as soon as this video finishes. And Jordan, Rory, anyone out there, you're more welcome to join for a bit. And subscribe to the channel, man, and it can be done.
Yes, big up yourself, Luca, man. Also, big up to Seb, big up Dave as well, the Wolves fan, for coming on and having you say. Make sure you go and give them a sub. Talking Wolves, link is literally in the title. Click the blue at. They're smashing it. I think they've got like 17K subscribers. They're on the road to 20K. So make sure you go and give them all a sub. They do a great channel, and may the best England tomorrow as well. Any Wolves fans listening, but yeah, I think we'll be right tomorrow. I'm pretty confident. 3-1 to the Gunners for me. We're literally live in literally 2 minutes. We're doing Premier League predictions.
Oh, I thought it was 7 o'clock. Did you change it?
Yeah, I mean, it was meant to be 6 o'clock, but we've run over a little bit. So 6:10 we're doing it. But I know you're live as well, literally right now, as well for your preview. So go and check him out as well, people. And then obviously I'll be on Tony Claude's channel. Big up to Tony. That'll be tonight, 8 p.m. on his channel. Go and check that one out. We'll do a Premier League show together. That'll be 8 p.m. on his channel. And tomorrow, guys, match day, watch along, match reaction, player ratings, calling show, all that stuff coming. I'm sure Luca will be doing his match reaction as well, right? Tomorrow.
Yes, I will, of course. And football day tomorrow as well. So everyone knows what I upload on a Saturday. So regardless to that, it's coming. So
big up, guys. Thanks to the whole chat tuning in as well and liking the video. And we're getting out of here, people. I'll literally see you in about 2 minutes' time for another stream. We're out of here. Come on, the Gunners. Cheers, people.